The college football season is here. Week 0. Yes, you heard that right. I'm joined by Logan. We're going to talk about 3 games. There's maybe 10 on the slate. We're talking about the biggest 3 that we really like. And look, Logan, I'm not going to waste no more time. Let's hop into the first one. Nebraska Cornhuskers at Northwestern Wildcats. Now, technically, this is a Northwestern home game, but it's not a home game at all. They're in Dublin, Ireland. Kickoff 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a great day. Right now, we got 52% of the fans. Yes, you heard that right. We're going to incorporate the fans into here. 52% of the fans are actually on Northwestern, the Wildcats, plus 13.5. The over-under sitting at 50.5. Look, sorry, fans. Not so fast. I'm going Nebraska, minus 13.5. Now, we look at the line. This one actually opened at a 10-point favorite line for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and it's moved quietly to 13.5. Last year, Nebraska, they beat the pulp out of Northwestern, 56-7. Nebraska did a complete overhaul because they were terrible last year. They were 3-9. They overhauled. They got a new offensive coordinator and Mark Whipple from Pittsburgh, who helped produce Kenny Pickett, one of those great overall first-round picks. And they got a new QB at the helm, Casey Thompson, a transfer from Texas. Look, Scott Frost, I love you. You guys know I'm a UCF fan. He left UCF to go to Nebraska, his home, where he played college. He is in the hot seat. He needs to get a win today, and I think he's going to cover on Saturday. I think he has to get it done. Northwestern was not a good offensive team, just averaging 16.6 points per game. And look, Scott Frost, he had that hilarious comment over the offseason. They had like 15 to 20 pukes per practice for the offensive line. Look, Nebraska, you need to win. You need to win by 2 touchdowns. Big win. Logan, who do you like for this game?
Yeah, so I'm actually not picking a side. I'm going to pick a total in this one, though, and I'm taking the over 50.5 in this one. Look, I really do like this one because, first of all, at first glance, this total seems too high for a Big Ten opener on a neutral site. I look at the slate and I'm like 50.5. I feel like we're gonna have a lot of people, on the under in this one. But last year, as you mentioned, Northwestern, got drubbed 56-7. So there was one side cashed the over alone. Now, I don't expect, Nebraska to duplicate this performance, but hey, they had 427, yards rushing, 7 rushing touchdowns in that game. So they really did dominate the line of scrimmage. I imagine Scott Frost and Mark Whipple, as you mentioned, will unleash Casey Thompson. I think this offense is going to be very explosive out the gate. And look, I mean, Scott Frost is trying to make a statement. He's trying to save his job. I don't think they're just going to coast and go chew clock. I think they're going to try to put up 30, 40 points and try to make a statement against Nebraska or against Northwestern. This Northwestern defense last 3 games of the season gave up 47, 32, and 35 points. Now I know it's a new year, new players on that side of the ball, but how much better do they get in a year? That's the question I have. And this Nebraska defense, look at their last 3 games of the season, gave up 28, 35 and 26 points. Last season, Nebraska 97th in time on the field, Northwestern 107th time on the field. Now, what does that matter for an over-under? Well, if it's a quick 3 and out and a punt, hey, that preserves the clock. That gives us more scoring opportunities. So I am going to take the over 50.5 total points in this one.
You know what, Logan, I like the over. Like we talked about, Scott Frost on the hot seat, 15-29 since he came to Nebraska. They lost 6 straight to end the year. So hopefully they're the ones running up the scoreboard and not Northwestern. That's going to be the first game we're going to talk about. Let's move on to the second game, though. Like I said, not the greatest slate, but we're going Wyoming Cowboys and the Illinois Fighting Illini. Currently, Illini are 12.5-point favorites. The over-under 43.5. It's a 4 p.m. Eastern start. Like the public and the fans out there who voted on Twitter, if you're not following us on Twitter, go follow us at Call on Our Shot. They're on Wyoming, plus 12.5 points. 54.3% of the people are there. You know what, fans? I'm with you guys because I'm riding with the Cowboys, plus 12.5. Now we look at the over-under, like I talked about, 43.5. So if they're going to keep this total, pretty low scoring, they're going to have to cover this, not going to be a high-scoring game. Wyoming, I think, can score some points to keep this one close. Now you look at Illinois, 5-7 last year, wasn't the best teams. Of the 5 wins, only one of them did come by 12-plus points. It was against Northwestern. But when a Mountain West team comes in here and is only favored, by only underdogs by 10, 12 points to a Big Ten team, why is that? You look at Wyoming. They lost both their starting QBs last season. They started 2 to the transfer portal. They still don't even have a QB listed, but we look at the strength of this Cowboy offense, and it's going to be their offensive line. Gave up the 2nd fewest sacks in the Mountain West. I believe the 30th fewest in the whole college football as a whole. And they're likely, like I said, they haven't named a starting QB, likely going to be Andrew Peasley. He's going to start for the Cowboys. He was the backup to Jordan Love at Utah State. Granted, Jordan Love's been in the NFL for a couple years, but still, he's seen that pedigree, and I think him transferring there, I think Wyoming should be able to pick up the slack. They won a bowl game last year, outscoring Kent State, scoring like 52 points in that bowl game. I think that carries over into this year. So look, I'm all in on the Wyoming Cowboys. So is the fans. Logan, you going to squad ride with us?
No, I'm not going to squad ride. And the beauty of this show is that you and I are allowed to disagree, right? I'm taking Illinois, Illinois to cover the spread. I really do think, sorry fans, sorry Austin. Wyoming, we can't ignore that they're 0-6 straight up in their last 6 versus Big
Yes,
Ten
we can.
opponents. No, we can't. We simply can't ignore that. This is, Wyoming, whatever they did last year. I love that for them. But this is a new year. They're going to encounter some big boy football week 1, right? Wyoming's defense also 92nd in rushing yards allowed on the road last year. Some flirting in the 100, the triple digit range. So Illinois can run the ball. Illinois' offense last year, 56th in rushing yards. So they do want to establish the line of scrimmage, and I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to, probably push around Wyoming a little bit. Look, when you have a Big Ten team versus a non-Big Ten team, the line of scrimmage battle is very important. Also, I want to talk about the passing, attack last year was weak for Wyoming, 107th in passing yards. I mean, they can put up points and everything, but I really do think, Illinois will make them one-dimensional, and that could get really ugly really quick. If Wyoming falls behind, I trust Illinois to be able to, to win the time of possession and keep that 2-touchdown lead we need to cover. I mean, I'm not asking them to cover a 30-point spread. I'm asking them to cover 13, and I really do think they can do that.
You know what, Logan? If the Wyoming Cowboys cover for me and the fans, I'm wearing a cowboy hat next week because I will not tolerate the disrespect on my Cowboys offense and defense. They're going to get it done for us. I have faith in them. Now, the final game of the slate, and normally this video we will talk about probably 5 to 10 games, depending on the biggest games of the slate. Say we're going to the latest game on Saturday, the Vanderbilt Commodores in Hawaii, taking on the Rainbow Warriors. Look, this is a game 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Vanderbilt currently 8.5-point favorites, over under 53.5. And look, I asked the fans, and we're dead split, 50-50. Half of them's on Vandy, half's on Hawaii. I got to break that difference, and I'm going with this Commodore offense and defense. Like, they're traveling to Hawaii. Might be a little bit of a time change, but I think they can get it done. I've seen the following stat way too often. I log on Twitter, and I swear it's there every day, that Hawaii 11-1 against the spread in their last 12 openers. Congrats. If that's any indicator, they're due some regression. But Hawaii hasn't been good against the spread at home since 2011, just 32, 43, and 2 against the spread at home. So this 11-1 stat, a large part was all on the road, and they were probably big underdogs, more so than they are today. And my question to you, Logan, is why the heck is Vanderbilt an 8.5-point favorite? They were 2-10 last season. They're 2-19 over the last 2 seasons. This is a team that lost to East Tennessee State, no offense to any of their alumni, and almost lost to Colorado State and UConn. UConn is one of the worst programs. Logan and I could probably make the UConn roster. No shots fired. Hawaii, 6-7 lost last season. They lost their head coach and they lost their QB, lost a bunch of other skill positions to Power 5 transfers. They got a new head coach who's an offensive mind, but he wasn't even an offensive coordinator at the group of 5 level. So how, comfortable he will be transitioning into a head coaching job, I have no idea. Vanderbilt returning 7 key starters on defense, their 4 leading tacklers. Clark Lee, I'm counting on you. I need the Commodores to come through, and I think they will for us. Logan, what are you riding with this game?
Yeah, you and I are going to agree on this one finally, right? I'm not going to get too cute and try to take Hawaii with the points. I think that's what a lot of people might get in this one. I'll take Hawaii, with the points, and I think you'll be wrong on that one. It is, as you mentioned, very weird to see Vanderbilt, laying this sort of line. You have to do a bit of line reading and say, look, last year Vandy's offense terrible, 103rd in rushing yards, 104th in passing yards, 127th in scoring offense, and they're supposed to lay 8.5, out of the gate. So you look at that and you're like, well, they can't get much worse offensively than last year. Obviously, the books are expecting them to take a leap forward. Vandy quarterback Mike White, I think he'll test the Hawaii defense for sure. Hawaii defense 127th out of 130 teams and passing yards allowed per game. So I don't need Mike White to go on and throw for 500 yards this game, but he just might. So I really do think Vanderbilt might push around Hawaii. SEC. Then we'll get some SEC bias out of the gate week 0.
There's nothing better than that. I'm sure you'll be seeing plenty of that throughout the season from Logan. But look, those are our 3 games we're going to talk about. We'll be back again next week. We'll talk about a lot more games. I think we have games on Thursday next week, kind of the big opening day with a ton of games on Thursday. Maybe we'll give you guys a video with our favorite games of that one. Let us know your favorite picks down below. It's week 0. Have some fun. Let's go make some money. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.